Hi class, we're looking at a few examples of using inequalities in the real world here. We've got questions 35, 36, and 37 from your homework. Let's look at the first one. It's not safe to use a light bulb of more than 60 watts. That means we can use a light bulb that is 60 watts, but if we go to 61, we might hurt the lamp. So we need the wattage, okay, the wattage to be less than or equal to, okay, the 60 watts. That's what that sentence is telling us. We have it's not safe to use something more than 60. Okay, so that's why we have the underline here, because it tells us we can use the 60, but any more than that, so even a 60.1 is going to maybe blow the light bulb or cause the lamp to catch fire. Let's look at question 36. We have at least 350 students attended the band concert Friday night. At least, okay, at least. Notice here how we're identifying what our variable is. So that's the number of students. So the number of students was at least. That means the count. We stopped counting after 350. That's again why we have the equal sign there, because we know there was at least 350 there, probably more than that. So that's why we have the number of students as S, and it is going to be greater. This is greater than or equal to the 350. On our final example, we have the Navy's flying squad, the Blue Angels, makes more than 75 appearances each year. So if A is the number of appearances, then it's going to be greater than, because it's more than 75. It could be 76. They usually don't do a half a show, but it's more than 75. So that's where we get the number of appearances is going to be greater than the 75. Okay? Moving on now, we're going to look at 69, 70, and 71. Here's 69. It says, which is the correct graph of -4 is less than -x? Explain. What I want you to think about is, okay, can x be what number? Can x be 10? If I were to put 10 in for x, that would say -4 is less than -10. Okay, that's not true. -4 is actually greater than -10, because the bigger the negative number, the smaller the value. So therefore, any graph that would include 10 is not a solution. You can see in this side here, we're going on towards 10. 10 is over here. Okay, so this is not an answer. The same with this one, because we are greater than 4 here. So anything that has 10 in it isn't going to be a solution. Now we're left with these two here. Okay, let's just try some of the numbers and see if it's true. Let's look at 0. Let's put in 0, because 0 isn't an answer in this graph, but it is in this graph. So we have -4 is less than -0, and we know there's not a -0 here, but -4 is less than 0. That is true, right? That is true. Now, if we had 4 here, let's use 4, okay? Now, notice they're open circles, so 4 is not a solution to this. If we put in a +4 in for x, then we would have -4 is less than -4. That's equal to, so we know if we had a 3 here, or we had, which would then make it a -3, that would still be greater than the -4. So the -4 is less than -x. So the answer here is C. Once you listen to lesson 4.3, I think this might help a little bit. So just be patient, things will come along. Question 70. Give a counter example for this statement. A is less than B. Then A squared is less than B squared. Well, if you think about that, if you had A is less than B, let's pick a number that proves this is that A squared is not less than b squared, okay? Or let's try to find a number to prove that it's not always true, okay? So let's just pick the numbers 2 and 4, okay? 2 is less than 4. That's a true statement. So now if I square 2, I get 4, which is less than 4 squared, which is 16. So in this case, it proves that it's true, right? But we want to find a counter statement that proves this is not always true. Sometimes true, but not always. It's one of those always, sometimes, never questions you may see on a quiz. So let's think about another example here. Let's try a negative number. Let's try a -3, which is less than 2. Okay? If we square -3, -3 times -3 now becomes a positive number. It becomes a positive 9, right? And if we square the 2, 2 squared is 4. Now, notice that 9 is not less than 9. I need my red pen here because 9 is not less than 4. It's actually greater than 4. So this right here is your counter example. And then in 71, it says, describe the numbers a and b for which the following statement is true. If a is greater or less than b, then a squared is equal to b squared. Okay? So think about when this would happen, when they would turn equal, even though a is less than b originally. And so you want to think about positive and negative numbers. And if a is, say, a -2, that is definitely less than 2, is it not? But as soon as we square both of those, we get 4 and 4, which is equal to. So that's what this question is asking you to think about here in 71. And basically, a is going to be a negative number, and b is going to be its opposite. Hope this helps. Have a good evening.